Thank you for everything that you do. And let's see here. Steve Stockton, everyone. Steve Stockton from KPNL. He's hiding right there. Good to have you back, Stevie. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Good to have you back. I think we're caught up. Butch Witkowski, everyone. The Butch is back. Yes, we're glad to have him here. He's healthy. He's happy. You know, I know my sound is probably off a little bit from my voice. We are working on that, and we'll try and get it figured out for tomorrow. As we have 28 seconds until we are running. Hi, Lori. TH, thank you so much for that amazing super chat. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Super Chat's a great way to support this show. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs sideways, and do a little shopping at facebook.com/the SOR Vault. Hit the subscribe button on our channel here as well. Here we go, everyone, in 5 seconds. Let's rock and roll. Ew. Mountains of Sense is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. The final week of every month, Butch Witkowski joins us for Strange Days, where we take a serious look at the cryptid and paranormal realm. Butch is a creator and lead investigator for Pennsylvania's UFOcop.com. Butch is a former police officer who's been searching for answers to the unknown for almost 30 years. His crankiness will tell you that he's not even close to the answers yet, but he and his UFO Cop team will continue the chase for monsters lurking all around us. Then at the bottom of hour number 3, I will bring you the SOR Newswire, brought to you by Paranoia Magazine. Butch Witkowski, always a pleasure to have you back, and your first appearance here in 2021. How are you, my friend?
I'm fine. Strange. 2021 already.
I know.
That's amazing.
I know. It is a little bit weird. It is a little bit weird, man. And I'm just curious how everybody is doing out there and how you're doing. How's your New Year's started?
Pretty good so far. A lot of interesting things going on. A lot of good reports coming in for a change.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
What's coming in?
UFO sightings, because we've had some really cold weather but clear skies. So that just goes to show that people are out there looking. And went out to the old chicken farm to see if those entities were still there. And they're gone. I guess they went home.
Wherever home is.
Yeah, right.
Well, Butch, for everybody out there who may not be familiar with you, what got you into this field?
Well, it started in 1989, actually. We were living in Tucson, Arizona. Had some fellas out there putting in some cactus, saguaro cactus on the property. And it was really hot. I mean, really hot. And my wife went in and got some iced tea for everybody. So we were all out in the driveway drinking iced tea and taking a break. And I looked over and everybody was kind of looking up. And I started looking up myself. And a mountain, which is would have been south of my location, there it was. It was just a huge ship just hovering over the mountain. It had to be 3 football fields in length. I gave that great thought over the years, but it had to be that big. 6 or 7 stories tall, faded green lights along the side, maybe 4, I believe. And it was silent. There was no adverse effects. I mean, like, my watch was still running. They had a generator out there that was still running, so there was nothing done electronically. I looked across the street at my neighbor, and he was head of federal prisons for the whole western part of the United States. And he yelled over, "Did I see what I was looking at?" And I'm like, "Yeah, how could I miss it?" And then I looked to my other neighbor to the right, and a doctor, and he's seeing the same thing. So everybody's got their eyes fixed on this thing, and it's dead silent. It's just kind of hovering up and down a little bit. And just like that, it just shot off to the west, and that was it. It was gone like a bullet. It was just like it didn't even exist. It was just gone. So after that, I started looking into it. That I called DPS, Department of Public Safety. I called all radio stations, TV stations, Sheriff's Department, Highway Patrol, Davis-Monthan Air Force Base, the airport. I called everybody I could think of that would have their eyes to the sky. Nobody saw a thing, and they never got one report. So the total of 7 of us were all losing our minds, I guess. So I went into looking into UFOs. And getting nowhere fast, just accumulating a lot of paper and books. I just gave it up. This is nuts. And we had moved back to Pennsylvania, and sitting there watching TV one night, and there was a show on about UFOs, and it bit me. That was the start of it, man. It bit me. So that's over 30 years ago. So it's mobile units and a team and a huge library, and shortly we're going to be doing environmental DNA testing. So it's come a long way. I mean, it has come a long way from that sighting out there. But I enjoy every minute of it. I'm retired. I love it. It's fun. I get to meet a lot of interesting people. I get to meet a lot of people that I think should have, supervision. But it's fun. I enjoy it.
Butch, over the last 25, 30 years that you have been doing this, you've seen a real change in the paranormal UFO community, the cryptid community as well. I'm just curious, for you, out of your last 30 years of doing this, what has been the biggest factor of the changes that you've seen, for the good and for the bad?
Well, I'll go with the good first, and that's a lot of younger people are getting involved, and a lot of females are getting involved, which was unheard of years back. I mean, if you found 2 or 3 women that were involved in UFO studies or anything like that, I mean, they were more leaning toward the paranormal, but as far as UFO or cryptozoology stuff, no, they weren't around. Now, there's a ton of them out there, and they're very good at what they do. They have more patience, let's put it that way, where, you're out there with a bunch of guys sitting in the woods, and pretty soon everybody getting all antsy, and, they want to go for a smoke, they want to get a beer, they want to do this, they want to do that, where, the women are they set their mind to what they're supposed to be doing, and they do it. I find the same thing, whether it's cryptozoology, the paranormal, or Bigfoot, or UFOs. One of I guess the bad part is that there were, over the years, and I would say it's probably the last 15 years, there were so many people got involved in this, basically via the TV shows, the monster hunters and the monster killers and the UFO chasers and all this stuff. And, they copied everything they saw on TV, and they took it to the woods, or they took it to their group, and it just became a melee. And these groups, they lasted, a week or 2 or 3, and then they got their hats and New Jerseys and stuff, and then they pack it in, so they start another group, and new hats, New Jerseys. So the hats and jersey crowd is getting a fortune out of this. But one of the things that has happened is that the people that are really interested, that really are looking for answers, and are out there doing what they can, or joining groups that do that, it is really phenomenal in my mind. Because if I had to come up 10 years ago, if I had to come up with 5 people in a hurry, I'd be hard pressed. And now it's like you have, I can make a phone call and I can get 20 guys together, no problem. If I need information from Quebec, I can get it. If I need questions answered from Florida, I can get it. So you over time you make connections with people that are really doing the right research the right way, and then the other part is, we really do get to help a lot of people with their research, whether it's what type of equipment to use or background research on a case, or trying to help them put together what they got, or telling them how to make a good report. And there's just a whole lot of little things come together. So it's been a lot more interesting, I'd say, in the last 10, 15 years, because we're more involved now. It's not like it's a private group running around doing whatever we do and we keep it totally secret. We do a lot of stuff for folks. Somebody wants something research, background research. I'll do it. We don't charge anybody anything. So it's been pretty good. And like I said, a lot of young people getting involved, and it's really cool there because they know how to use a computer, they know how to use a camera, they knew how to, there's things that they know that the old timers never did. I mean, half these guys go to a UFO watch, sky watch. They wouldn't even take binoculars.
I got to ask you, what was it like 30 years ago going into the field, having to carry an abacus with you?
That was a little tough.
I had to. I'm sorry.
I know you did. No, it's really changed a lot over the years. But like I said, the biggest translation has really happened in the last 10 years. That things have changed where people that are involved, let's put it this way, people that are involved now really want to be involved. They just don't go down to the local bar, grab a beer, and tell everybody about their great experience out in the woods chasing Bigfoot. So it's really good that all these people finally have, come out of the woodwork after all these years. And we do anything we can to help them. And they've been a great help to us, too, especially when it comes to if you're doing something in an area you're not familiar with, and you can get a hold of somebody who knows somebody or whatever, what used to be there, is this the building they're talking about? Is this the creek or the river they're talking about? Is this where this alleged sighting took place, et cetera? So it works out for both sides.
Okay, so what about the difficulties of the field over the last 3 decades?
The BS guys, the fortune and glory crowd, they've kind of whittled down, but, they were at their peak maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Never saw a UFO. They never were out on any cryptozoology adventures or, paranormal adventures. But they wrote books. They made TV appearances. They were at the conference, the conference crowd. And it's just fortune and glory. I mean, they didn't – look, a lot of people don't know this, but Stanton Friedman, the godfather of UFO studies, never saw a UFO in his life. Never. When he told me that at a conference, I almost fell on the floor. I thought, wow, you've got to be kidding me. He said, nope, never saw one in my life. I mean, he knew a lot. He did a lot of research, and, of course, a lot of stuff with Roswell and stuff like that, but never saw one in his life. So just like he said, hey, one could hit me in the butt and I wouldn't know the difference. I said, well, if one hits you in the butt, you will know the difference. So I guess that was the bad part about it, that clamor for glory, getting your own TV show, doing your own radio show, which years back, they were all over the place. There were radio shows everywhere. Right here in the town where I live, in this area, there were 2 shows. One was on a Sunday night. The other was on like a Wednesday, and they were both on UFOs, cryptozoology, and stuff like that. And I went to school with one of those guys. He's never left the street, but he was an expert, and that's where it really gets me when they start claiming look, there are no experts in ufology, there are no experts in cryptozoology, and there are no experts in the paranormal. What we find, we find. What we miss, we miss.
Butch Witkowski is joining us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I got to ask you, Butch, in regards to the way the field has changed as we enter a new year here, the second year that we've had with COVID going on, and hopefully it doesn't last too much longer because I think we're all going a little stir crazy and cannot wait to eliminate the words COVID from our vocabulary. I got to ask you, how do you think this is going to affect the entire phenomena world for researchers again?
Well, I know how it's affected our team. We can't run around like we used to because a lot of places are closed. We can't get into them. I think once it opens up and people become more comfortable and they have their shot or whatever you're supposed to get, I don't see anything changing with the day-to-day conferences or emails or telephone calls that we go through with everybody. But there probably is going to be some changes, but I really don't think a whole lot of change because you got 2 or 3 people out in the vehicle, out in the woods. That doesn't affect anybody one way or another. The conferences, you can count on those being shut down for a long time. The conference crowd is going to have to find something else to do. Maybe they'd like to grab a pair of binoculars and look up, or get a gifting site and look down. So I think that's the only ones that are going to be hurt by it, the conference people, because every conference that I know of that was booked for this year, for 2021 and in 2020, they were all canceled. They're all done.
Okay, so do you see it affecting the way UF4COP does their research again this year? Because last year, because of lockdowns, you couldn't get to where you needed to go.
Well, the places that we couldn't go to were kind of places that were public, and they were shut down. Like a couple of them were state parks. They were shut down. There was some private land that we couldn't get onto because, the people were afraid of the virus and stuff like that. But even that's starting to loosen up. I mean, we've got a couple of things planned for, March. We'll be getting out. And so, it affected us to a point. But in the meantime, we got to do a lot of, gathering of stuff together as far as reports, old reports, new reports, equipment needs that were done. I learned how to do this environmental DNA. So, I guess it hurt us a little bit, but nothing that won't be transcribed in the next month or two.
I gotta ask you, in regards to the new people who have come into the field, what are some of the mistakes that they are making that you recognize maybe back in the day that you made as well? Because there's always people interested in getting into this field. They just may not know how. Well,
I think the early mistakes that I made were going out alone. That was a big mistake. I didn't really realize, in the very beginning, it was just a lot of fun to get geared up and take off. And then when I was out there, I thought, there's things running around here that could eat me in a minute, or I could fall and break a leg and just sit here and wait to die. A lot of mistakes with equipment. I tried to always go the cheapest route, and that didn't work out too well. That was just a waste of time and money. Another thing I wasted time on, I think, was a lot of books that were pretty much, one guy wrote a book and then 3 other guys copied from that book. They just changed the wording or they changed the substance of the book. But I think that was pretty much it. I think when people, if they just put in their head that when they go out into the field, I don't even care if it's a Star Watch, you're going to go high up on a mountain to go to a Star Watch. Just be careful where you're going. Let people know where you're at. Have the proper equipment with you. Always carry a cell phone. And that back then, we didn't even have the cell phone I carried was like a brick. But I was lucky if I could call myself. That's kind of the simple stuff. Just being wise, streetwise, or where you're going. Like, I would never go to British Columbia without grabbing you guys. Ain't no way I'd walk out in those woods. Not by myself.
Oh, no.
And and the very first thing I'm going to tell you is always find somebody that can run a lot slower than I am.
Interesting. Okay. So do you think then that the mistakes that young people are learning is good for the field right now? Because when you add in social media, when you add in a little bit of I hate to say a know-it-all attitude, because none of us know it all, but there is ego that goes along with that. When you combine ego with, everything. How has the field from when you started compared to today when people start today?
Well, when people start today, what I found in my end, I can't speak for everybody, but on let's say our end, like with Lon Strickler, myself, and other researchers that have been around for a long time, the ones that are serious will contact you and they want to ask a lot of questions. They don't want to take up your time. I've had them come to the house. And Lon's the same way. I mean, Lon and the guys out in western Pennsylvania, which is Bigfoot areas out in the Chestnut Ridge and stuff. I mean, they want to share what they're looking for. At the same time, they want you to share with them what they should be doing and what they shouldn't be doing. And that to me was one of the biggest things, because look, people have been hurt. There was a guy killed a few years back on a paranormal hunt where he went into this old house and, didn't tell anybody he was going. He just went into this old house, and they found him the next day. He went through the floor and hit the basement from the second floor. So that was the end of that. So I always tell, I'll tell anybody anything they need to know. If I have something I can share with them, I can email it to them or mail it to them. We do a lot of picture research for folks. We don't charge anything for that. The DNA stuff, we won't get that started probably till March or April. And another thing we're looking into is a scanner, a 3D scanner handheld, which I can use in the field, plug into a laptop. I can scan a footprint and send it to you by email. That quick. No plaster of Paris, no nothing. Just scan it, ship it.
Come on, you got a fax machine in there somewhere.
No, I don't. I don't own one. Seriously.
Why do I doubt that? Why do I doubt that?
No, I'm serious. I do not own a fax machine. I have no use for it. I can do everything on a computer. What do I need a fax machine for?
Oh, I know. I'm just saying in today's day and age, I mean, considering you're still investigating with an abacus, I wasn't sure.
Yeah. I still got to figure out how that works. I can't find the push on and off button.
Right?
Yeah, right.
That's the way it works. We got about 90 seconds here before we have to go to break. At the bottom of the hour, Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues here. Butch, I'm curious in regards to going into 2021 here. What do you look forward to doing?
Oh, just getting back out in the field. I mean, I'm cranked. If somebody told me the weather was going to be above 50 tomorrow, I'd be gone. It just, I'm at the point now where I'm about half crazy. I got to get out in the field. There's so many places I need to go and so many places I want to check out. There's like 4 caves that I want to get into. And so I'm just raring to go. I got the fuse lit.
I don't blame you. I mean, we just got to get through this winter first here. And then I'll tell you, we actually have had a little bit of a mild winter here. So I think over the next couple of weeks, we may absolutely try and get back out there to see if we could find some prints in the snow.
Oh, yeah. That's a big thing.
Yeah, that's going to be real good. Butch, I'm going to get you to hold on right there because we are going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Butch Witkowski's Strange Days continues on Spaced Out Radio. It happens the first week, or make that the last week of every month, where we bring Butch in, talk about all these monsters and everything that is running all over the place. UF4cop.com is Butch's website. Make sure you check it on out. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio right after this. All right. Just so you guys know on the audio, my man Chuck is listening in on it. We seem to have some sort of divide. I don't know why. That some of you are hearing the audio that is coming through muffled. Others are not having an issue with it. I know that I don't really know what's happening here with the audio and why it's so split like that. We are checking into it right now, and Chuck is reading the comments that you guys are leaving. So if you have any issues on why it's maybe not sounding, I don't know. Maybe it's the. I know a lot of you are listening on your phones. I know a lot of you may have web browsers up on your laptops or whatever. I'm not sure what is going on, but we're working on it. It might be, don't forget too, it might be network issues in certain areas where you are located as well. Hey, Crow Creek, how you doing, man? Good to have you back. Slim, thanks for coming in. Michael Lestuca, welcome. Well, let's see here. Hey, Raul. On Android, it only works with headphones. No, we haven't changed any encoding on this end whatsoever. Hey, ufologist, how are you? Welcome. We haven't changed anything on anything. So all we did was boost the levels up a little bit, and it's just kind of weird that some people are having issues, and then it's weird. It's weird. Hi, gorgeous and talented Jessica McCreary. And let's see here. All right. Hey, Jim. Yeah, so I don't know what's happening with some of your audio out there. Might be Wi-Fi issues, but for the most part, it seems like it's off and on for a lot of people here tonight, and I don't know why. And it might be like we've had Chuck here. He's in the east right now, and he's saying that it's sounding good. Might be a network latency. We're not sure. Dark Hour, how you doing? So, I don't know. Hi, Susan Place. JP Base Senior, how are you? Audio good in Arkansas. I know it's Arkansas. I just like saying Arkansas. Big J, what's going on? How you doing? We've got about 90 seconds before we come back with Butch Witkowski and the second half hour of the show. There it is. TH says, if you're listening via YouTube on your phone apps, update your app. That might be what's happened. Maybe your app needs updating. Good point. Thank you for pointing that out, TH. Really appreciate that. Laptops, I don't know. You should be listening on your station, Anne Celine. It sounds perfect. Perfect. Chunk Sloth, how are you? Welcome to our chat room for the first time. Hey, I want to say a big thank you to Chuck Bam, the gorgeous Kira, Big Dog, TH, and Cat Chaser for those awesome super chats tonight. Thank you so much for the love and support. And I don't know what it is with the audio. All I know is that half of you are having great audio. The other half are not hearing it well on YouTube. It's nothing we have done on this end. All we did was boost up the sound from yesterday. Otherwise, we haven't touched anything. try updating your app. Try, I don't know, maybe Microsoft is coming up with another update. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on with Butch Witkowski's Strange Days tonight. Butch's website, ufo4cop.com. He's known as being one of the crankiest men in the field of ufology, cryptozoology, paranormal, and being from Pennsylvania as well. Butch, welcome back.
What's that?
Exactly. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing just fine, sir. It sounds good here. I mean, a couple breaks in the very beginning, but that went away.
Yeah, well, I also want to remind people here, if my throat is a little scratchy, I've noticed recently that I've come down with a little bit of an allergy, and that is to pet dander. And so I was sitting on my couch, and my dogs sneak up on my couch all the time. So if I sound a little, how can you say, a little congested, I am not sick, but it's this darn pet dander that has just beaten the heck out of me recently. And so, I don't know. But that's what's going on. That is what's going on. Butch, I want to get to the sightings of these Mothmen. I mean, that your buddy Lon Strickler keeps looking into. What is actually going on with these Mothmen?
Are you talking about the Chicago stuff?
Yes.
Well, it started a couple years ago, and it was kind of a hit and miss, one here, one there. There were a couple in a row that didn't really amount to much. But then they just started coming in one after the other. And I haven't worked on the case. The only thing I did for the group for the Fortean team was I did some background research on the underground of Chicago, which is huge, by the way, to see if there'd be any place where, they could be nesting or anything strange like that. And there are a lot of places you can still get to the underground in Chicago, and some are shut off and caged up. But when I read those reports, I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, you got cops that see them, you got a group of people on a tour bus that see them. I have no idea what they are. I mean, the descriptions are all within the realm of everybody's kind of seeing the same thing. I don't know. And they seem to hang around water a lot, around the lakes. I don't know. I really don't know what they are. I mean, people have said, they're pterodactyls or pterodactyls, they're this, they're that. Well, those animals were huge. And another thing that when they say they were on the ground and they just take off, no. Prehistoric birds like that just didn't take off. They were too big. They were too heavy. So they always landed high, stayed high, and, when they flew, they just jumped off the top of the mountain or off the cliff or whatever to get up in altitude. There was no way they had the wherewithal to just take a run and leap and jump into the sky. So, I mean, there are so many large birds out there that, it could be some misidentification on something, but I can't see misidentification on all of them. I mean, a duck's a duck. But I'm at a loss for that case. I can't wrap my head around it because there's just so many reports. I don't know what they have now. It's over 100. I know it's over 100. But they got good researchers out there on the team. They interview people right away. So hopefully, one of them will fly into a building and fall on the ground, or somebody will knock one out with a 12 gauge or something. But I don't know. I just don't know what they are. And they don't really fly all that high. Most of the reports I saw that had given any kind of a height, they were like at 1,000, 1,500, 2,000 feet. Now, at 1,500, 2,000 feet, everything looks big. Cessna 172 looks big. So I don't know. I really honestly don't know what to say about those. They're seen on the ground, seen by, some pretty reputable people. Lawyers have seen them, doctors have seen them, cops have seen them, security guards at the airport seen them. But some pilots have seen them. What they are, who knows? I mean, there's so many things in this world that are out there that we don't even have a clue. It's just like a guy said to me the other day. He said, well, the reason you don't see Sasquatch is because, or you're not going to find Sasquatch. Oh, man, my mouth don't work. Sasquatch is because they're good at hiding. And I threw it back at him. I said, well, what if they're like interdimensional? Well, that screwed him up for a week. That just made him nuts. I don't know. I don't know what, look, I know, Lon knows, every researcher out there that is worth the salt knows that all this is connected. This is all connected. The paranormal, cryptozoology, UFOs, everything's connected. Now, trying to get the landscape to put it all together, that's a pretty big job.
I got to ask you, okay, because I'm a big fan of your buddy Lon, and when you or Lon speak to me about something, I usually listen because I think over the years we built a relationship where there isn't a lot of BS in that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That there's a lot of honesty. You're not going to pull the wool over my eyes. There's no need to.
Right.
So my question to you is, how does Lon or your and his 14 group seem to get all of these reports on these sightings, yet you don't see any other researchers getting these reports? It's a little confusing to me.
Well, that's sort of not true. There are other individuals in the Chicago area that are getting reports. They're attached to MUFON or other groups. They deny everything. Like it's not happening. It's all just a put on by Lon and his team. But that stuff goes way back. I mean, Lon's one of those guys that has always and always will tell it like it is. So if somebody starts to snowball him, look out. If he finds out or he puts it all together, you're in big trouble. And he's not afraid to put it out there either. The team that's out there, they're all longtime researchers. They've been around for many, many years. They know what they're doing. They know how to do their thing. They know how to interview people. They'll jump in their vehicle and go right to the spot. If they got a report now, in 10 minutes, they'd be on their way. You have a handful out there that even when they had really good cases, and this takes me back to my days of MUFON, even when they had really good cases, they shelved them, or they lost them, or they didn't mean anything. So it's that thing, it's that old thing where, well, you got reports in British Columbia, but Butch, I don't have any cases in British Columbia, so his cases in British Columbia, Dave Scott, they got to be junk. I'm the real deal, and that permeates the whole field. Thank God, not by a lot, only by a few. But they have they really get on it. I mean, there's been photographs. I mean, some of the photographs, you look at them, you blow them up, and it is what it is. I mean, that's what the guide said he saw, and that's what the pictures are saying he saw. But they have a lot of pushback from a group of people out there because they're not getting the reports. And Lon gets a lot of reports because he's been doing this a long, long time, and everybody's familiar with phantoms and monsters. I mean, his research goes all over the world. I've been involved in some stuff with him in Australia, in New Zealand. I mean, places that I never would have got on my own. And I've never really heard anybody say anything bad about him. Never. And if there was something derogatory, said about what he does or how he does it, well, you think he can do better, do it. But he has a following. His numbers on his website are crazy. And, I didn't get into this paranormal. I didn't get into this cryptozoology stuff until I met Lon. And we started with one case and went to another case, and he scared me more than once with his stories. So it's just the way it is, Dave. I mean, you almost know right off the get-go who you can deal with and who you can't.
No,
you can tell.
Yeah, go ahead.
You can tell when somebody's interested, or they have a legitimate question, or they're looking for help. I mean, you just know it. And the other ones, when they try to slide in on you, or they'll get somebody else to slide in on you. You can tell just the way they ask the question, or no researcher that I know of. If I would call them and say, okay, you got this report, this UFO report, I have something similar. Give me the name of your contact so I can call them. Nobody would do that. Nobody. So when somebody asks you that, you just know right away. Bye. It's been nice talking to you. Have a nice life. Goodbye. Click. Done. Now, if you're working on it together, if I was working on a case with you in British Columbia, you were working on a case here in Pennsylvania, that's a different story. But when somebody just calls you out of blue and wants all the information, they want the contact, the phone number, the address, exactly what happened, best deal. Hang up the phone. Screw you, pal. Bye. Click.
Okay, so Lon has taken a lot of crap over this in this. I mean, but he's old enough to and been in this game long enough to kind of know that comes with the territory. But
right.
Do you think it's because of the creature that it is that maybe there isn't enough respect that kind of goes along with what he's doing regarding this information, because he seems to be right on top of it?
Well, I think the respect comes with his honesty over all these many years. And he's been doing it for such a long time. I mean, everybody knows the guy. And like I said, he takes cases all over the world. I mean, I can't do that. There's no way I could do that. He has contacts all over the world. But, when you talk about stuff that comes back as bad feedback, or somebody gets on your case about something, it's all about fortune and glory. You're doing something, or you found something that they will never find, and if they did find it, they wouldn't know what to do with it to begin with. So it's not going to say a little bit. It's a lot of jealousy, and in these fields, I've watched groups, and they were good people. Don't get me wrong; it has nothing to do with the people that were involved. But I've seen good groups just fall apart because this group said, "Well, they're getting more reports than us. Why are they getting reports and we're not? What are they doing? They got new baseball hats. We got the old ones. We need a new radio. Stupidest stuff. They should get married. They'd have less arguments." Well, not really.
No, and I can understand that and appreciate that, But I mean, Lon. How can I put this? Because I trust him, but I kind of want to see the other side. I'm having to play devil's advocate here on it, because I mean, with this creature that is being seen, Lon doesn't live in the area, so where are these reports coming from, and how are they filtering to him?
They're coming through his website, Phantoms and Monsters. That's where he's getting them. Or they're going direct to a couple of the researchers out there have their own websites, and the one guy, he's been out there forever, and the other guy has his own radio show also, and he's an investigator, him and his wife. And they get them, and then they share them with Lon. And if Lon gets some in the area, he shares them immediately with those guys. So right now, I think there's 4 or 5 out there working, and they've been at it since day one. And, you know, when you're documenting one UFO sighting or one crypto sighting or one paranormal event, that's one thing. When you're doing 5 or 6 or 10 a day, that's crazy. And that's the way it happens out there sometimes. And they get like a dry period, just like everything else, and nothing's happening. And then all of a sudden it explodes again, and, man, you're off and running.
So this Mothman sightings that Lon has reported on, the creature that is being seen, how similar is it to the creature that was seen in Point Pleasant, West Virginia back 50 years ago?
I don't think that it's very close at all, because the descriptions that I've seen on the reports, it's more, everybody kind of says, you know, it's got the long beak, it's got a long tail, it's got membrane wings, slender. They're describing a pterodactyl, you know, or you know, that they're describing something that is ancient, very ancient. You know, so you know, it's not like with the Point Pleasant sightings, you know, you have people say they describe it as an owl standing there with no neck and the big red eyes and, you know, massive wings and stuff like. I mean, that's not what they're getting out there. They're getting things that, if you pull up a picture on the website, on any website, or Google just a pterodactyl, that's what they're seeing. That's what they're reporting. Now, they have had some hoaxes. Don't get me wrong. They've had some of those, but they got to those right away. But you know, there's so many things out there that we don't know about. I mean, I'd be surprised if somebody would ever walk up to you where you live and say, hey, I know everything that's in these woods. I'd kind of slap them around a little bit and tell them to take a hike. Nobody knows what's in those woods. I mean, there was a thing on the other day. I just caught a little bit of it, but it had to do with British Columbia. And the one guy, a cryptozoologist, and he was checking out prints or something like that. Excuse me. And he said, I could spend a lifetime in the woods here. And he said, if I had the wherewithal and I clear off all these trees and move all these woods off to the side, he said, I'd probably have more discoveries than any man ever had in his whole life. And I thought to myself, that's a lot of trees, buddy. I mean, he took an overhead shot. I mean, it's like British Columbia is very strange to me, because we have mountains here, we have large forests here, but they're flat. We don't have a lot of mountainous areas. And, you know, when you get over one mountain to the other side, there's a city, you know, or you go the other way and you go over that side of the mountain and there's a small town. I mean, it's built up. There's a lot of folks, but the guy's showing overheads of British Columbia. I mean, as far as the eye can see, it's nothing but trees and a few spots of water. And I'm going like, yeah, good luck.
I have 500 lakes in a 1 hour span of driving around me.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Wow. See, now here we have more larger streams, creeks, smaller rivers. We have some large rivers, of course. We have a lot of lakes, but not that many. And they're all over the state. They're not incorporated. And then the very largest ones we have are all man-made lakes. So in my book, they don't count, because, you know, when somebody says they see the Loch Ness Monster going down through the lake, and I'm thinking like, well, how the hell did he get in there? You know, how did he make it in there? It's a landlocked lake. and they made it. But it's, people have to take into account when they're doing research what they're going to get themselves into. Like before we get to these caves, I mean, I've spent months researching these caves. I have diagrams of them, maps. I know how deep they are. I know how wide they are. I know how high they are. I know how far back they go. I know the, things that I should be wary of, things that I should look out for. So, I mean, that's what you have to do. I just can't take the word of somebody on the phone saying, yeah, I was in that cave when I was 15 years old as a Boy Scout. And then I look it up and the cave collapsed, 20 years ago. But it's getting more interesting now that we're starting to use things that are a little more scientific, like the 3D scanners and, where we can get that information. I can send a footprint to you, Jeff Meldrum, or anybody else, Lyle Blackburn, anybody I want to send it to, I can send it immediately, right off a laptop. And now the environmental DNA, that just fascinates me because, you're taking a sample of water. If anybody worth the salt would look at all their reports, if they have, a bunch of reports of crypto reports, and look at the area that the report comes in, I will guarantee you that within a short distance, there is water. There's a stream, a lake, there's something.
Interesting. Well, I mean, it shouldn't be interesting, though, because everything needs water to live.
Right.
So, I mean, should we be surprised by that?
Well, it's going to go both. It's going to go one. You're going to have the group that says they're interdimensional. So if they're interdimensional, they'll say, well, they don't need to eat, drink, or anything else. Then you have the other group that says they're flesh and blood. They need food. They need to eat. They need to drink. They need shelter, etc. Until we find what we're looking for, these people can talk back and forth to each other and close their mind to the other person, or this one closes their mind to that person regarding what they think it is, until we find what we're looking for, or we can prove that those big flashes of light we see or, are just Bigfoot is seen, flash of light, he's gone. Flash of light, Bigfoot seen, gone. Or there's footprints that walk all the way across the field covered with fresh snow, and 50 yards out, they stop in the middle of a field. Well, where'd he go?
Well, that's the main thing. Where are they going? How are they just disappearing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's so much to look into this. There's just so much stuff that you've got to put together when you're looking at your report. There's so many things that pop into your head. Like, if you had said to me 20 years ago about interdimensional travel or Bigfoot being connected to UFOs or paranormal or vice versa or whatever the lines cross, I'd have just said, like, you're crazy. They're all separate. After all these years, I've learned, no, they're not all separate, because I've had UFO sightings that turned into cryptid sightings. I've had UFO sightings that turned into entity sightings. I've had entity sightings that turned into paranormal events. So it's all connected. I've said that now for years, and I will continue to say it. So when people go out and they're looking for a certain thing, like they go out and they're looking for the bipedal canine, or they're looking for Bigfoot, or they're looking for the pterodactyl in the sky, what they should be looking for is something that shouldn't be there. That's what they need to look for.
What do you mean by that? Actually, you know what? Save that thought, because we are going to go to break here at the top of the hour. Butch Witkowski and Strange Days happens to kick off the final week of every month. Butch's website, UFOcop.com. We're going to be talking monsters. What's good evidence? What are we looking for? How should we approach a good investigation? We'll be back right after this. All right, boss, I'm just going to run my dogs out. I'll be right back, okay?
How much time we got here?
6 minutes.
Oh, good. I need to get my iced tea
I'm Ryan
filled.
Stacy,
Okay.
head of the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We've teamed up with Spaced Out Radio to investigate cases filled out in the SOR Sightlines report. We are independent, and there's no cost to what we do. All we need is your experience. Let's find out what's happening together on the SOR Sightlines report.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best-rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
I'm feeling a little spicy tonight. What to do? What to do?
Why not get Bumblefuck?
4 million Scoville units of pure hard rock. Bumblefoot hot sauces come in 3 flavors. The burning Bumble. Tone it down a bit with Bumblicious and throw the sauce on everything.
Spicing up. Bumble me, baby. Bumblefoot hot sauce. Get it today at kajans.com.
Hi, this is Amber Beckrud, and I want to invite you to subscribe to our YouTube channel where we store all of the SOR show archives for free. And as an added bonus, every 2 weeks I'm posting brand new content on Cryptid Tales, where I will get into some of the spookier legends and folklore from around the world and tell the stories that go with them. Find us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio and check out Cryptid Tales today. Drop a comment and let me know what you want to hear. See you there.
Hey, space travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you'd know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
We are scouring the world for the most intriguing stories of your day. Take the time to read up on the SOR Newswire, where our team, led by Captain Shirk, will deliver to you some of the best paranormal and supernatural news, along with some stories that will blow your mind from the weird to the wacky. It's the news outside the news that piques interest, and that's what we're looking to deliver to you. The SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Are you intrigued by paranormal?
All right, I'm back.
I'm here.
Right on. Right on. Once again, I know some of you are having sound issues. I don't know why. My sound on my cell phone and on our end is completely fine. I'm not sure what is happening on some of your ends. Hi, Paul. How you doing? Hey, Bim Jim. How you doing, brother? So I'm not sure what's happening on your ends. Maybe you have to update your cell phone or something along those lines. I know that sometimes we have audio issues when our computers need to be updated. Hey, Northern UFOs, how are you, buddy? So I don't know really what is going on. I can say that it is not on our end. We've done a couple of sound checks already tonight. Hi, Terry Brown. Excuse me. So I apologize for any of you having some issues. Hey, David Fortner, how are you? Like I said, I don't know. What I do know is that on our studio here, we are having great sound coming through, and I checked my cell phone during the break. Hey, Kane, Gadya, how you doing? Thank you for joining our chat room. We're on in 20 seconds here with Hour 2 with Butch Witkowski. Agent Hammer, good to see you. And if you have any questions, please put them in capital letters, okay? Thank you, guys. 5 seconds.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio is underway tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight. We welcome back everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. If you want to check out all of our free archives, go to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kako Missile, or is it Kaka Missile? I don't know, but the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We continue on here on Spaced Out Radio with Butch Witkowski from UFOcop.com. Butch joins us near the end of each month for Strange Days, where we get into all the weird, strange happenings from around North America and the world. Butch, welcome back.
Yes, sir. Good to be back.
Investigation techniques. As we get into those, does it matter on how you investigate, whether it's UFOs, paranormal, or cryptids? Is there a difference?
Well, yeah. There's different equipment used for all three. UFOs basically is done during the night. Night watch. The one that is more equipment oriented are anything cryptozoology out in the field. We have big changes have taken place over the last 10 years. I mean, the use of a thermal imaging device, which are pretty much down to a couple $100 that you can attach to your Android or your iPhone. Which is great at night, looking for a heat source in the woods. Then, night vision goggles or a night vision scope. Trail cams, of course, have gotten really sophisticated. The ones we have that we are using are Wi-Fi. So whatever they're seeing, we're seeing on a laptop or in the computer in the truck. And then, recorders, remote speakers. I'm not sold yet on the drones because you really need to know what you're doing with one of those things. They're very expensive. And really, when you're high up and looking down, you're not going to see nothing but a lot of trees and brush, depending on the time of year it is. Investigation techniques with UFOs are pretty standard. you're watching the sky, you got a star map, so you know what you're doing. If you're using if you're using good binoculars or if you're using a scope, get one that you can hook your camera to, digital camera, not a cell phone, digital camera. They make adapters. It's a screw-on thing, and then you just attach your camera to it, and you can visualize what's going on in the sky. Or you can buy a sky cam. And they're not really that outrageous. I've seen them as low as $250, where it's a camera that faces upwards. It mounts on top of your tripod. The one we have has a heater in it, so it doesn't get fogged up with cold weather or temperature change, and it just shoots straight up. So you're getting like a fishbowl shot of the sky, and it's all being transferred.
We seem to have lost you there, Butch. Give me 1 second here. We seem to have lost you. I don't know where Butch went. Weird. I'll have to call him right back here. See if we can get him here. We'll see if we can get this connection going. See if we can get him back here. Hope the power didn't go out or his phone didn't die or something. Weird. That went to voicemail. Well, I mean, hey, sometimes this happens, sometimes it doesn't. That's the beauty of live radio when all of a sudden you lose a guest because of a phone line. Sometimes the battery runs out. Sometimes it's aliens. You never know. You never know what's going on. We'll try getting Butch back here momentarily. But like we were saying right off the bat here with investigative techniques, I think the important part is that people need to realize they don't have to spend a lot of money on gear. A lot of times your own intuition is all you really need, along with a digital voice recorder, a good camera to take some photos. There just seems to be way too much interference right now with people spending thousands of dollars at times in order to bring their investigation techniques up to par. So, I mean, it's just amazing out there how many people are spending money, good earned money, to do something that is, in fact, for most people, a hobby. Now, granted, hey, there's a lot of people who waste a lot of money on doing things that they don't need, whether it's video games, whether it's train sets, whether it's Hot Wheels cars or toys or board games, or if you're like me, outdoor toys. Some people like boats, ATVs, so on, right? We're going to continue to do that because that's what we enjoy. But that being said, when it comes to ghost hunting equipment, especially when we don't really know if it actually works, even cryptid type equipment, we have to be careful with what we're spending our money on. So, I mean, I find that very interesting. I find that very interesting indeed that many people out there are trying to, spend a lot of money on the technology that really hasn't been proven up to this date. It really hasn't. So I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing, or maybe it's just something that is a little convoluted because, let's face it, we always like to have the best and the biggest. We want to be that person who can show off our new toys. We want to be that person. But we don't have to be. Like, for instance, I'm not an investigator. I really am not. But when I go out in the field, I'm going by the feel of everything. I'm going by the feel I have of everything that is going on. It's true. I'm going by where I feel I need to go. I know that I am going by where I need to see things. I'm going by my own intuition. So it's very strange to me when everything is going on, when I see people wasting literally hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars, and sometimes they don't even have that money. Sometimes they don't. And here they are wasting it because, they'd sooner pay for rent or sooner pay for toys before they would pay for rent. Right? I think Butch's phone has died, to be honest, or something's happening. It's definitely not, because I can't even reach him on my cell phone right now. And I'm trying. You guys can hear. Hold on. See? We're trying to get him. Yeah. I don't know what's going on. Butch must have lost power or something. But we'll continue on here. We'll continue on Spaced Out Radio, because that's what we have to do. That's what we have to do on this show. We continue on. So if you have any questions in our chat rooms, please throw them on in capital letters, and we will get to your questions momentarily, and I will do my best to answer them. So if you guys want to do that, that would be appreciative. And otherwise, we'll just continue on here on Spaced Out Radio. We will do that. I love it. Everybody, it's the MIB. Men in Black, knock Butch out. No, I don't think so. No, I don't think so. Big Fat Creep. Dave, how do you do your study? Well, the first thing that I try and do with anything, and this also leads to my pet peeve of the paranormal, Mr. Big Fat Creep. Yes, that is his name on YouTube. The first thing that I do is I want to know what is the solution I'm looking for. So, for instance, give you an example. A couple weeks ago, I got contacted by a local lady here who is having troubles with music playing in her house. She's an 82-year-old lady. She is someone who lives alone in her little cottage-type house. And the problem is she keeps waking up in the middle of the night to music being played. So when I go into a location, even though I'm not a ghost hunter or anything like that, but every now and again I try and help people, and I will, if they call. And then if I have any questions, I'll call friends of mine like Merle or Ross Allison or David Weatherly or people like that. And I'm looking for solutions on how to cure the issue. I'm not there to play ghost hunter. I'm not there to play for my own benefit. You got to be there to help people. And that's probably the biggest issue that we have in this entire field. Doesn't matter whether it's paranormal or going to look for cryptids or whatever. You have to have a solution at the end. And the majority of groups that I notice out there being involved in this field and paying attention to social media is the majority of them have no idea what they're trying to do. What they're going to do with their evidence, they have no clue. After they collect their evidence and go through it, and they go, oh, cool, look at this EVP, or oh, cool, look at this orb. What do you do with it? So the main thing is to have a solution before you do anything else. Jim is asking, would you ever consider joining a ghost hunting group? No. No, I would not. And the reason behind that is with this show, I try and remain very neutral on everything, and I will not do anything that considers a bias towards anything. Now, that is very difficult because I've been asked to join paranormal teams before, and I've declined all of them. I've been asked to join cryptid teams, and, the majority of them, like I said, you got to have a solution before you have an answer, okay? And with the majority of teams out there, they don't know what the solution is. When they can provide a solution, we're a step closer. So because of that, I just will not join any teams out there, even if they're friends of mine. Like Merle has wanted me to join his team, and I had to tell him no, because I want to try and stay neutral between everything. That's what journalism is all about, and that's what I try and do. So that's why I really try to stay kind of down the middle with everything. All right. We're still waiting to see if we could get back Butch Witkowski here on Strange Days. He's over in Pennsylvania. I'm here in British Columbia, and I don't know if his power went out. I don't know if he got abducted by aliens. All we know is that his phone line went dead, and we can't get a hold of him now. We'll try him just a few minutes here as we continue on with taking audience questions here on Spaced Out Radio. Chris Moe, has anybody remote viewed Bigfoot? Good question. I do believe there have been people who have done it. Whether they were successful or not, I don't know. That's one of those, questions that we should ask a remote viewer sometime when we have them on the show. Because that would be interesting to try and maybe remote view, see where they are living, where are they coming from, where are they moving to, what are they feeding on? You get a high-quality remote viewer, we might be able to actually pick that up. We might be able to pick it up. I don't know if we will be able to, but it would be interesting. It would be very, very interesting to see how that works. Adrianos is asking, Dave, how can I catch a Bigfoot on camera? Fishing line. Use about a 100-pound test line. Throw out an apple, maybe some peanut butter on the back of your hook, and then when they come forward, just set that hook. That may not work. I don't know. It's worth a shot, though. Totally worth a shot. At least I think so. I totally think so. But on a serious note, we have tried personally up here with trail cams. We can't get it. In areas where we have had action before, we cannot get that photograph. We've tried. We're going to try again this year again. But, that comes to the next question, whereas a lot of longtime investigators believe that Sasquatch has the ability to potentially be able to pick out either the noise from the trail cam or see the light very quickly or see something anomalous in the forest very quickly, even if you camouflage it. And we camouflaged our camera pretty good. But we just were not able to catch it. And there haven't been very successful people catching them on trail cams. Some people have got lucky, okay, but can we trust those photos? I hate to be that guy. Can we really trust those photos on whether or not it's actually Bigfoot or something else? I do not know. I really do not know whether or not we could catch it. But you got to keep trying. I mean, I know one researcher, Mike Johnson in Colorado, he has tried trail cams over and over and over again, and nothing has worked for him. Every time they go and they set up a trail cam and they go back to that scene, the trail cam is either lying on the trail or something has happened to it where it's just not turning out at all. So let's move on here. Another question coming from Jessica. Did Mary the Ghost return to your haunted location after the apology? Yes and no. Yes, we were able to get her returned, but she doesn't show up during the tour anymore or very often because the feeling that we get is she just doesn't trust people anymore. And that ship has sailed. We haven't done a tour at the ghost at the museum. We haven't done a ghost tour since 2019 due to COVID. It was shut down, along with some other things that kind of went on in that tour with the museum curators and us. And it got a little political, and we decided that until they decide to smarten up, we're not going to be doing that anymore. It's just not worth our time. And, you know, sometimes they bring in people who don't really understand how the paranormal works or what it's all about. But we'll see. We'll see. As of right now, I would say we're not going to be doing the tour anymore due to some political differences. And you know what? As their biggest financial donor to the museum, that's too bad for them. That's too bad for them that they screwed it up and that they will not receive that money. We were raising almost $5,000 a year for the museum. Money that the museum needed, because this is one of the rare museums in British Columbia that does not have a government grant or sanction in regards to it. So it's a little different there, but there's nothing I can do. There's absolutely nothing I can do, and hopefully some people smarten up there, and hopefully some at the annual general meeting do not get elected again, because they're causing a lot of troubles for the tour. And, hey, they're out about $5,000 a year because of it. All right, Bigfoot Rob, did you hear about the $25,000 bounty put on the capture of a Bigfoot in Oklahoma? Yes. I'm not sure if that has passed through government yet, but I know they were petitioning to have a Bigfoot hunting season in Oklahoma. And, hey, what I believe of this creature, I do believe that it has something supernatural going on with it. And in my opinion, they're never going to get one anyways. So is it a publicity stunt? I have no idea. I really do not have any idea whatsoever. However, I do think it's interesting. Could you imagine if somebody actually hunted and bagged and tagged a Bigfoot? Like I said, I don't think it's going to happen. However, if it did, what would that do? There are a lot of ramifications if Bigfoot is proven. A lot of ramifications. And we've discussed those on the show before. But if you're just tuning in and wondering what those ramifications are, well, we have to look at it as it's going to hurt the environment. Actually, it's going to be better for the environment, but it's going to hurt a lot of businesses. It's going to hurt the tourism business, whether it's through hunting, whether it's through camping, fishing. It's going to be very, very intriguing to see how the logging industry is affected, potentially the mining industry, the gas industry. There's a lot of industries and blue-collar workers that are going to be affected by any type of proof that Sasquatch actually exists. Because and I was talking to a political person about this, when you find a new creature or you find a habitat that an endangered species is in, and if Sasquatch was proven, it would probably be listed as an endangered species because we know nothing of it. They immediately shut down that entire area. How big, I don't know, but they shut down the entire area for scientific study of the creatures and their habitat. What are they feeding on? What are they living on? What is their migration route? Do we have bedding for them? Do they have caves? All of that needs to be shut down, and that could be shut down for years. You can't log in those areas, and a lot of people would cheer that on. But for a lot of blue-collar workers, that would cost millions of dollars. So, I mean, it's a rough two-way edge right there. Double-edged sword, I guess you call it. And I don't know how that would go over. But I don't believe they'll ever shoot one. That's for sure. We're going to try and get Butch back after the break here. Strange Days with Butch Witkowski is going on. We don't know if he was abducted by aliens. We don't know if his power went out. We're going to try and get him back. If not, we'll continue with your questions. Be in our chat rooms or on Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio. We'll be back. All right, we're going to try Butch again.
You have reached the message box of 1.
Weird. Let me send him a message here. Try him again.
You have reached the message box.
Weird. Try my cell phone here. Yeah, it's going straight to voicemail. You know, the fact that he hasn't posted in our chat room, I would assume his power went out or something. That's what I'm going to assume here. So after the break, we'll continue with your questions. We're not going to bring anyone else on, but we'll have some fun here, and we'll share some stories, and I'll try and answer your questions as well, and kind of go from there. But that's okay. That's okay. We'll make sure something gets on the air. It'll be fun. I know Derek over on Twitter is probably thinking that it's all aliens and woo. But I don't know. Orbs. No, his phone. I'm sure Butch is fine. The way the phone line died, it almost sounded like maybe they lost power or something like that. So I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, because it's going straight to voicemail. He probably lost his phone somewhere. Maybe he dropped it in the toilet. Who knows? Who knows? I don't know. We've got about 2 minutes here. 2 minutes. Yeah, he hasn't even checked his message on Facebook that I sent to him, so it's interesting. Yes, Mark, I am in 100 Mile House. Are they having ice storms, Sherry? That's probably what it is. Good to see you again, Sherry. Thank you for coming on in. If there is a massive solar storm hitting Earth tomorrow, all I'm saying is the sky better clear up, because that's going to make for one hell of a Northern Lights show where I live. We don't squatch here. I don't know what squatch means. Hey, Eric, how you doing, man? All right, start putting your questions in. A big thank you to Beehive Chuckles, to Kira, to Big Dog, to TH, and Cat Chaser for the amazing super chats tonight. Put your questions in capital letters if you have any, and I will try and get them. The chat room is moving very fast tonight, so it's difficult for me to scroll up when we get to it. So I do apologize for saying, hey, please retype that. Hey, Bassmaster, how you doing, man? All right. So, once again, if you're having sound issues, it is not on our end from Spaced Out Radio. That I do know. So, it could be your phone, could be anything. It'll be awesome. We're going to get going here in about 5 seconds, everyone. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. We're going to continue on with audience questions right now. I think something happened over near Butch Witkowski's house where his phone lines have gone dead. I haven't even got him on Facebook to return my message, and Butch is always very prompt on doing things like that. So until Butch is ready to come back, if his phone lines are, we're going to take audience questions from one of our chat rooms or on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. First question comes from Cloudy with a Chance of UFOs. Dave, have you ever seen a UFO or had a weird paranormal experience? Explain if you don't mind. Cheers. I have seen a lot of UFOs. For those of you who do not know, my closest encounter came on April 10th, 2014, when I was actually called outside of a friend's house where they had a lot of strange things happening on their 10-acre property in Mission, British Columbia. And previous to going outside, I actually had a migraine headache that I realized was actually shapes pulsating. It started off as a square in the front of my head, moved to the right side of my head as a triangle, left side of my head as a circle, and all of a sudden got hit with an anxiety attack that I needed to go outside. So me and my friend went outside back of this property. It was one of those nights where it was a misty, low cloud night, very damp out, and everything was dark, but you could feel the energy of certain things coming around, and it was odd, very odd. So anyways, I kind of asked, all right, who's calling us outside? And I'm paraphrasing here. And on my command, about 150 yards away, a UFO on the ground lit up the tree lines like a Christmas tree. It was the brightest white light that I have ever seen. And the one thing I remember about it was, when you look into bright white, if you put your head up and look into the lights, you squint. There was no squinting for this. Well, it did it 3 times. 3 times it turned its lights off. 3 times it turned its lights on. And at the final time of the 3rd time, once the lights went out, they went out for good. There was a blue cylinder standing vertically from where the white light was emanating from the bottom. And this cylinder was probably 20 to 30 feet high. And it had this black cloud that was rotating counterclockwise on it. It would start off at the bottom and then it would go like halfway up and then work its way back down. Honestly, it was the most beautiful blue I've ever seen. Ever. And the only reason why I know how tall it was, because the trees that separated the property where these lights were coming from were probably 60, 70 feet tall. And I know that blue cylinder went up about halfway on them. So it was pretty big. I mean, it was an amazing experience. I would love to have it happen again. I really would. Do I think I'll get that chance? I have no idea. No idea. I hope so. I would love to see it again. Jim, do you believe in the Galactic Federation? Oh, good question. Good question. There are people that I trust who absolutely believe in this. I'm not sure that I do, because that sounds a little too sci-fi and Star Wars-ish for me. I know the Twitter crowd is not going to like that because it's not enough woo and don't bring, perspective into this. All right, I get it. I may disappoint some people on this. But I really don't see a council of aliens sitting up in the sky saying, "You Earthlings are not acting very nice." I just don't see it. I don't see it. What I do see is extraterrestrials coming down here in their craft because they probably picked up on our radio signals that are going right through outer space in all directions. And I bet you they're like, well, what are these signals? Let's go check them out. Wow, there's living beings down here. Let's go take a few. Let's go take a few. I do believe that's happening. I do believe that there are certain sectors of the government that have probably made contact one way or another. I totally get that. And I hear that. Right? But are they actually, is there actually a council saying that, we are not sophisticated enough as a species, so they're not going to come bring their toys down here to play with us just yet? I find that hard to believe. I really do. It sounds way too, what's the word I'm looking, mystical and mythical to me. All right. Chris Moe, what is your favorite show besides your own? Are you talking paranormal show? Let's see. Who do I listen to? I listen to Goof On with Rich Giordano. I listen to Grant Cameron on his YouTube channel. Mostly on my time, I will listen to George Norrie and George Knapp. But on my time, if I'm away from the studio, I try and turn everything off and give my mind a break. Normally, when I'm on YouTube, I watch a lot of YouTube, way more YouTube than I do television. I watch a Canadian magician out of Montreal named Chris Ramsey. Every Wednesday, he puts out a puzzle that I just love watching these puzzles. All right. So I'll put out, I will, watch him. I like watching Mr. Beast. It's a bunch of young guys who go around giving away a bunch of money. I don't know how real it is or not, but they got like 51 million subscribers on their YouTube channel. And so I watch a lot of that. At night, I like getting into the weird stuff at night. So at night, I will listen to a lot of creepypasta. I'll listen to a lot of weird stuff like time travel, a lot of David Paulides work. But as for listening to other shows, no, I don't really listen to a lot of other shows. I don't. Let's see here. David, how did you and Corrence, the booking guy, meet up? We met up through a chat forum called LGAB that supports us, and Corrence reached out one day and said, "Hey, is there anything that I could do to help you out?" And I said, "I need a booking guy." And he's like, "Well, what does it entail?" And he took a couple of days to think about it, and he's like, "Do you mind if I have a great mustache, better than yours? Is that going to be an issue?" I said, "No." And then he sent me a picture of the mustache, and I'm like, "You're in. You're hired." And that's literally how we met. It was that simple. I don't know why, but it was that simple, to be absolutely blunt. Sovereign Cosmic Wildman. Can you trust Canadian beef? What if it's cloned? Are there cows in Canada? We have lots of cows in Canada. Our meat is grade A beef. Even McDonald's uses grade A beef. Yes, the beef is good here. Very good to eat. In fact, I'd like some beef right now. I could use some to grind up to put in tacos. That would be fantastic for me right now. Make me a very happy man. Even though I had chicken tacos. No, I had chicken quesadillas for dinner. Nick, did any of you see the shark swim behind Dave just now? There are no sharks in the studio. No sharks in the studio. I will say that. So if anybody's wondering what happened to Butch Witkowski, we don't know. All of a sudden his phone line went dead, and it's either aliens or a power outage, or maybe the bipedal canine broke in and hung up. Maybe it's the boogeyman. We don't know. We cannot get a hold of Butch right now, so that's why we're taking audience questions here and just kind of hanging on out and having a good show here, because a lot of times we don't get the opportunity to answer a lot of audience questions, so that's what we're doing here on Spaced Out Radio. We're going to try Butch again in the next 15 minutes or so just to see what's going on. But if you have any questions and you're in our chat room or on Twitter, please feel free to put them in capital letters if you can. Adriano's, Dave, do you believe that Bigfoot is a relative of the aliens? Oh, that's a good, solid question. Good, solid woo question. Now, the woo answer is I do believe that Sasquatch does have some sort of really cool woo about it. I do believe that. Right? I do believe that. However, I do believe, let me put it this way, I do believe there is something supernatural about this creature. What it is, I do not know. I do not believe that it is just flesh and blood. All right? But it is something that there's been enough experiences that I have experienced and listening to other people with their evidence and things that I have seen where I believe there is something very supernatural about Sasquatch. So do I believe it's a relative of aliens, or the fact that their planet Maldek blew up in the sky and alien ships dropped them off on Earth? No. No, I don't. But do I believe they're a flesh and blood creature here on Earth? No, I do not. I think Earth has a lot of really cool mysteries that we can get into and that we will eventually, hopefully, find out the answers to one day, because I don't believe that this creature has, or I don't believe this creature is full flesh and blood. It does have something that makes it disappear. It does have, I think of the numerous times that researchers have told us that they've seen either with their own eyes or eyewitness evidence that they've received of footprints just stopping in the snow. And I do not believe for a second that the creature can backtrack and make the perfect print. There would obviously be a double print in the snow or the mud, yet that is never found. So I do believe that it does have some supernatural type qualities. What they are, what they're about, I have no idea. Did they come from Maldek or Mars or someplace like that? I have no idea. No idea. What I do know is that I do believe that First Nations and Indigenous people have a reason to for their stories about this creature. And I think there's a lot more evidence there than we give it credit for. My own sighting of pixelation that I saw before getting roared at by the creature, it convinces me that there is something else to it. And what that is, I have no idea. I really don't. Steam Train Mark in Australia, I can confirm you are alive tomorrow. Thank you for that. I was really worried. See, that's the beauty of our show, having listeners all over the world, especially over in Australia, New Zealand, because we can always check in, since they live in the future, we can always check in to see whether or not we are alive tomorrow. They're confirming it for us. Isn't that cool? They are confirming it for us. So that works for me. Absolutely Works for me. Overbuilt in our YouTube chat. Dave, if you were a single man with lots of beer trapped on an island, would you mate with a Sasquatch or a dog lady? What kind of question is that? I don't even drink beer. I don't. Well, the odd time I do. Not very often, though. I wouldn't want to be on an island. Give me some iced tea. A nice iced tea. No lemon. No lemon on the side. Got to be ice cubes in there. Or crushed ice. I like crushed ice. All right, TH. Do you believe the aliens are already here disguised as some humans? Yes, I do. Do I have proof of that? No, I do not. But I do believe, like, if you were on, think about it this way, put it in a reverse way. If you had the ability to fly to another planet where there is life, wouldn't you disguise yourself to look like one of them? Just so you could go hang out, go to their bars and restaurants, ride their roller coasters, go to their hockey games. I don't know. With my luck, any planet I went to, they'd be a bunch of Toronto Maple Leafs fans. Chanting 1,867 instead of 1967. It just works. No, but seriously, on a serious note, I would have a very, very good time checking that out. And I would disguise myself. So why wouldn't it be done here? That's the big question. Why wouldn't it be done here? And I think it is being done here. I really do. I think it is being done here. I mean, there was that story from like 30 years ago where apparently this one alien species fell in love with Las Vegas, and they would disguise themselves as humans and land their aircraft or their spacecraft at Area 51 and then take a bus. Yes, you're hearing me correctly. Take a bus from Area 51 into Las Vegas, where they would go hang out at the Sahara Hotel. Hold on, I'm going to look this up. This is a great one. I got to remember this one because let's see. Aliens in Vegas. Googling. All right, extraterrestrial highway. Where's this story? Aliens visiting Las Vegas. Let's try that. There was this story. I forget who wrote it. It's an older story. But I just think it would be really, really cool. I think was it the Sahara they were visiting? Trust me, I'm just Googling. You probably hear my keyboard there. All right. Maybe this story was removed. I don't know. But this was a good one. Oh well, can't find it right now. But apparently there was a story that was happening. Thank you, Howard, for the super chat. Really do appreciate that. But yes, I do believe there are aliens here, disguised as humans. Why not? Raul, what would you want to see on the aliens planet? Everything. I want to see the creatures. What do they look like? Are they out of like Monsters, Inc.? Or are they out of Guardians of the Galaxy or Star Wars? Star Trek? I think it would be cool. I think it'd be cool to see what they're all about, how they live. I'd probably get depressed by finding out how long they live, because, it would really suck to find out that they live like 25,000 years. Keith Richards would still be alive, by the way. And in the meantime, here we are, we're lucky if we get 75 to 80. It's a little bit of a ripoff, if you ask me. I'd like to see what their trees look like. Their waterways, if they have any. Do they live above ground or below ground? What do they do for fun? Right? What do they do for fun? How do they procreate? Great, we're going to have Alien Hub now. Right? I mean, it's going to be interesting. It would be very interesting to have that trip. What do their structures look like? How big are they? Do they build buildings? Do they have subdivisions? Do they have pets? Do they go for a steam milk? Do they have a different language when they talk at coffee shops? Like when you go into Starbucks, this is why I never go into a coffee shop. Because I can't understand coffee language. I don't know what a grande is. I don't know I don't even know. I don't know. If I order a coffee, which I don't drink. See, Tim Hortons makes it easy. Double, triple, 2 cream. None of these fancy names. You know, none of that. You know, if I take a look at the Starbucks menu here. All right. So let's go to some of these drink names here. Right? I don't know what an Irish cream Americano is, or an American Misto, or an espresso con panna, or what a flat white is, or a caramel brulee latte, coconut cascara latte with Starbucks blonde espresso. I don't know what that is. I don't. It scares me, to be honest. It's a whole different language in there. I don't even know where to start. It's intimidating for me. Last time I was in a Starbucks, I had to ask the person behind the counter. It was a young lad, and I said, "Sir, do you speak English and not coffee? Because I don't understand coffee language." And he's like, "What do you need?" I said, "I would like a large hot chocolate, please, with whipped cream." And he goes off on this fancy name. I'm like, "What are you talking about? I don't get it." It's the last time I was in a Starbucks. Starbucks is probably from Aliens. Yes, Adrianos. Starbucks is probably Aliens. I really don't get it. All right, moving on. Next question here. Let's see here. As we got time for one more. Rican, do you think ETs, Bigfoot, shadow people, paranormal, etc. have been here on the planet since before human existence? Yes, I do. Yes, I do believe that. You know, if these beings have the ability to travel throughout space, they're definitely older than the planet. Definitely older. So it would make sense to me if they were flying here when things were going on. It would. It would totally make sense to me. Totally makes sense. So, I don't know. I mean, do we know exactly when humankind really started on this planet? We could guesstimate, but I don't really know. If they were here before humans, were they here before the Cro-Magnons? You know? I don't know. But we got another 30 minutes of Spaced Out Radio. If we can't get a hold of Butch Witkowski, we will try your questions again for the final half hour before the bottom of hour number 3, going into the SOR Newswire and the Thought of the Day. Stay tuned. Spaced Out Radio continues right after this. Okay, everybody, I'm just going to take a quick bathroom break here. I'll be right back. I'll try and get a hold of Butch once again, so I'll be right back.
This is Ryan Stacy from the Experiencer Support Association, otherwise known as TESSA. We're glad to team up with Spaced Out Radio to help investigate your experiences on the SOR Sightlines Report. Together, we'll investigate the strange sightings and occurrences you've had. We're looking for answers just like you. So fill out a Sightlines report on the Spaced Out Radio website and let's figure out what's going on together.
Looking for creative ways to get your company out in the public? How about advertising on Spaced Out Radio? Our sales department is waiting to hear from you, and we can work around any budget. From commercial spots to banners to special promotions, there are many opportunities to get your name and product out to our SOR listeners. For a price guide and more information, please contact us at sales@spacedoutradio.com.
For the price of 1 cup of coffee a month, you can become an SOR Space Traveler. The Space Travelers Club is a place where you can interact with other listeners, either live during the show or on our great forum. We want your stories, pictures, comments, and ideas. You'll get live video streams, exclusive content, and be a part of our newsletter. Stay in touch with everything SOR. The Space Travelers Club is just $5 a month at spacedoutradio.com.
Hey, Space Travelers, this is John Resig, founder of the Chive and Chive Charities. If you know anything about our website, you know we like to do things a little differently. We're not some faceless organization collecting money for a nebulous cause. Our donor dollars go directly toward life-improving items. Then we give those items directly to an underdog who needs it most. To become a donor with Spaced Out Radio's official charity, Chive Charities, just go to chivecharities.org/donate.
The party is always on at the Moose Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is where you want to be when visiting Canada's West Coast. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose cranks up the rock while serving some of the best rated food in the city. The menu starts at $6.95. Why party anywhere else in Vancouver when the Moose is right there? Get your horns up and rock with the Moose, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Hello, Space Travelers. It's me again, Carl. Don't forget to join the Space Travelers Club for just $5 a month and follow Spaced Out Radio on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio. Our Instagram, Dave Scott SOR. Our Facebook page is Spaced Out Radio Show. Our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Come woo it up with Spaced Out Radio today. Bye!
The SOR Vault is open for business, and do we have some cool swag for you to pick up? All you have to do is head over to our website and click on the SOR Vault. You have a variety of cool logos to choose from, and put them on anything you want. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, coffee mugs, you name it, we can get it to you. So do your shopping by supporting the store you love. Get your Spaced Out Radio swag at the SOR Vault today.
We are scouring the...
All right. I am back, and let me start getting the news ready. We've got about 90 seconds, everyone. 90 seconds. All right, 30 seconds.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
We've rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, KPNL, and Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free for you by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor. Hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Kako Missile. Kako Missile is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Now, we're supposed to have Butch Witkowski on the show tonight for Strange Days. The problem was, we seem to have a little bit of a technical issue as Butch literally disappeared. His phone line went dead. We don't know if it's aliens or, if you want to look logically at it, if it was a power outage, a phone line outage. We really don't know. But we are going to keep going here with some audience questions. So if you have any questions, head over to Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, or you can head over to one of our chat rooms, namely our YouTube chat room, and connect with us there. We would appreciate it as we continue on here. One of the things that I want to talk about, we didn't really get into this a week ago, but I want to talk about a stupid conspiracy theory. There's a lot of stupid conspiracy theories out there. There really is. All right? And we try really, really hard to stay away from a lot of the idiotic QAnon-type conspiracy theories that are out there. But this one was just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. There's a lady out there who is known on YouTube and in the UFO world for being a little bit of a major conspiracy theorist. Well, about a week ago, she decided to make a post and a YouTube video on it about 250,000 Chinese troops lined up on the Canadian border and on the Mexican side of the border to prepare for an invasion of the United States. You know, we already work in a field that does not get a lot of credibility and a lot of mainstream coverage because, well, let's face it, people already think we are wingnuts, okay, for believing in aliens, Bigfoot, ghosts, spaceships, and all of these broad claims that we make. All right? However, the conspiracy theory that this person created, I think, is absolutely horrible. There is no base for it. There's no information. She tried to put it on as unconfirmed. Think about it, people. It doesn't take a lot of brain power to realize that 250,000 troops of any army would be noticed in North America. All right? It would be noticed in North America. Think about it. There's NORAD. There is NATO. And I'm pretty sure that if they are sailing 250,000 troops to North America, that someone in between, likely the U.S. Navy, is going to pick up the fact that these troops are coming in. All right? Seriously. This is the ridiculousness that kills our industry. It does. Now, the name of the person I'm not going to mention because I don't want to flood this person's YouTube channel with garbage like this. Doesn't deserve the hits. All right? Doesn't deserve the hits. But when you put in 250,000 troops, or you're making claims that there's 250,000 troops tucked in on either side of the border, we're going to notice. The Canadian government is going to notice. The Mexican government is going to notice. All right? And this is where we get into a lot of trouble with this field. All right? It's where we get into a lot of trouble. And it doesn't make sense as to why to do that. No, I am not assuming this is truth. This is truth. All right? We have to be careful in this field in order to make it. Now, there was the rumor that the Canadian military was training them. They were not training soldiers. They had 4 or 5, 6 generals over here, and the Canadian military threw up a stink about that, as well as the United States government. But conspiracy theories can be very dangerous to our field, and that's why I don't promote them. Right? We have to be able to, I don't know. We'll never clean up this field as long as there's crap like that out there. We'll never clean up this field. And the unfortunate part about it is there's a lot of people out there who believe it. Think about it. How are they flying in or sailing in without radar detection? Somebody's going to look. Japan? Do you think we're allies with Japan? You think they may not tip us off? United States Navy's pretty big. We know the Americans don't like invasions. I'm pretty sure even as small as the Canadian Navy is, we would notice. I'm pretty sure all of the satellites in space would notice any traffic coming our way. Right? So just be careful out there with what you're hearing. Because there's a lot of garbage out there, and unfortunately it kills what we do. It kills what we do. Moving on. Dirty Filth is asking, what is your all-time favorite cryptid story or creature? I would say my favorite cryptid is still Bigfoot, Sasquatch. My favorite story that I have out there is probably the story of Albert Ostman. This is going back to the 1920s on the west coast of central British Columbia, where he alleges that he was going on a prospecting tour looking for gold, and on his first night, he was picked up in his sleeping bag and carried off by a Sasquatch. And he was going to be there for 7 days. He was dropped off. He knew what day that he was going to be picked up in the harbor by a boat to take him back to the mainland. And on night 1, he gets captured by a Sasquatch who takes him up to his little hut village. There's a wife Sasquatch, a mama Sasquatch. There's 2 little children Sasquatch running around. And he had his gun with him. He had his tack with him, which was kind of like a meat, like a jerky type meat. He had chewing tobacco. And he stayed with him for like 6 days. And on the 7th day, he knew he had to get back to the water in order to get back. Okay. And then what happened was, on the 7th day, knowing that he had a watch on and he had to be back by a certain time, he apparently gave a bunch of chewing snuff to the male Sasquatch, who got really, really sick. Really sick. Started barfing all over the place. And that's when Albert saw his time to escape. And he started running, and the Papa Bigfoot got a little bit aggressive and started chasing him. And that's when apparently he put a shot into the Sasquatch's shoulders, and the Sasquatch continued to chase him down to the water. And he hopped on the boat, and both him and the guy who was running the boat saw the Sasquatch kind of going at the edge of the water. That's my favorite Sasquatch story. Totally my favorite Sasquatch story. Albert Ostman, 1920s. It's kind of cool. Vinny, if you had to convince someone that Bigfoot is real, what would you tell them? Well, I think you have to start off with the Patterson-Gimlin film. I really do. And then you show them pictures of the footprints. Maybe take them out into areas if you have that ability. Right? And footprints, if they're there. That's what I did with my buddy Mark. Mark had been hunting for 30 plus years. He didn't believe in Sasquatch, never saw anything, never really looked. And I got to tell you, when I showed him a footprint, he was quite impressed that he had never seen that before. Now, my buddy Mark, he's been a hunting guide. He was an animal tracker on Vancouver Island. He knows his stuff about the outdoors. This guy is a survivalist. Survivalist. And when he saw that footprint, he was like, you got to be kidding me. You got to be kidding me. So I think that if you could bring a person out into the forest and show them the proper signs, okay, not some bark chewed off a tree, which could be from a moose rubbing its antlers on the tree, or a porcupine or something along those lines, or a bear, show them definitive proof. That's how I think you convince people. We're not going to find it on YouTube videos. We're not going to find it on Facebook or Twitter or anything like that. Too many videos have been hoaxed. Too many videos have been played with or doctored. I mean, you look, we're 54 years after the Patterson-Gimlin film, near 54 years, probably 52, and we're still debating that. And to me, that is 100% real. 100% real. So that's probably my favorite Bigfoot story, and the reason why I feel that Bigfoot would be able to be introduced to people. First thing you got to do is start with Patterson-Gimlin. And when they say, well, that could be a person in a monkey suit. Really, is somebody going to sew a pair of Sasquatch breasts on a monkey suit? I don't think so. I really don't think so. That's just my belief. I'm looking for more questions here from our audience. Go to our chat room on YouTube or on Twitter at hashtag SpacedOutRadio if you want to check it on out. Jim is asking, Dave, have you ever dreamt of aliens? Oh, yeah, many a times. Many a times. Sometimes it's cool. Sometimes it's not so cool. There's a lot of people who believe that if you dream about aliens, you're actually having an extraterrestrial experience. Are we? Don't know. I really do not know. However, though, there are those who claim that the aliens can actually put themselves in your mind and make yourself experience something. How great would that be? Can they do that? We don't know. There are many who believe that we can. There are many who believe that if you dream about aliens, they are actually there taking you. That's what I find hard about experiencers. Like, I have had those dreams. I've woken up with marks on my body. Do I believe that I had those experiences? Absolutely. Absolutely I do. However, the truth is we don't know. And I hate to say that because it's so unwoo. So unwoo. But you get people who have had face-to-face encounters while they're awake, like we did with Carl at the window back in 2015. That's where stuff gets real. That's where stuff gets really real. And that's the experience I wish everybody could have. Eugene says, they were more than dreams, my good Dave. Yes, they were, Eugene. Yes, they were. I will agree with you there. So I'm a firm believer that at points, yes, I do believe it is aliens. I do believe that we all have active imaginations. For instance, if you watch a certain type of film, you're going to dream nightmares. All right? I remember a few weeks ago, I was watching the series called The Purge. And I was having nightmares. I had a nightmare one night about being chased by people who wanted to kill me. Because it was Purge night. Got away, got into a solidified building, but it was scary. So, that's kind of what we do. Adrianos is asking, do you believe that shooting stars are UFOs that are being shot down by other aliens in some galactic war? No, I do not. No, I do not. I think there's too much proof out there to show that it's I shouldn't say all the time, but I would say the majority of time it is space junk coming down, meteors coming down, pieces of asteroid coming down. But I'm sure it may have happened. Why wouldn't it? Or why couldn't it? It's very interesting. Howard, it's been a while, but have you seen the shadow dog recently? The last experience we had with the shadow dog at the house was scratching at the door. So I brought the dogs in, closed the door behind me, and then there was like a bump and a scratch at the door like my dogs would normally do when they want to come inside. So for those who don't know the story, I have had a shadow dog around my house. It's kind of cool because this shadow dog actually looks like my black German Shepherd, whose name coincidentally is Shadow. I call him Mr. Doe. So I've seen this shadow dog 3 times here. And then there was the sound about a week ago. I don't know if it's a dark image. Like when I say dark, I mean evil. I don't think so. Doesn't feel that way. I just don't know. But it is kind of interesting that it continues. And it seems to be now going on a weekly basis sort of thing. All right, I just got a message from Butch, and this is what it says. He texted me. He goes, sorry, big guy, lost all power at the subdivision. Transformer took out everything. We'll have to do a makeup for SOR. So Butch apologizes that he lost all power at his house, which we kind of figured had happened. But at least he was nice enough to let us know. At least, I guess we now have confirmation that it wasn't aliens that moved him or took him. Kind of sucks because that would have been real cool if that's what actually happened. But it didn't go that way. So thankfully, Butch is still around. He's alive. His phone isn't. His power isn't. What a time to lose power when it's cold out. See, I don't mind losing power where I am. Like if I lost power here, the cool part about it is I have a fireplace to keep the house warm. I got a big wood stove. Light that sucker up, we'll be just fine. But for a lot of people out there who don't have that secondary heating system, that's what gets a little freaky. Raul is asking, are there alien ghosts? I think there are aliens who can disguise themselves as ghosts. I have a photograph of an alien from a ghost tour standing in a doorway from the museum here. That was taken by Merle's buddy, Jeff. That's kind of cool. That's why one of the reasons why I think they're all interconnected. TH is asking, any news on the To the Stars Academy? The latest news on them is they will be shutting down their storefront in San Diego on January 31st. There has been no replacements for Luis Elizondo, Chris Mellon, or Steve Justice in leaving, but in typical Tom DeLonge fashion, we are told, stay tuned, just be patient, things are happening, everything's going to be awesome. As long as he has Jim Semivan and Hal Putoff involved, I think that they'll be able to bring more people on the table. And the other thing that we don't know about the TTSA is who is working behind the scenes, and will they take the time to step forward and put their name on the board of directors or as people involved. That'll be very, very interesting indeed. Can we sneak in one more here? Adriano, so you're saying that Patterson-Gimlin is a real Sasquatch movie? Yes, I do believe that is a real Sasquatch movie. Thank you to everybody for participating in tonight's show and being patient with Butch Witkowski. When we come back from the break, we are going to go to the SOR Newswire, where Captain Shirk has us fully loaded for the news. And it looks pretty good tonight. It really does. And we're going to get to the thought of the day as well. Once again, we'll throw out Butch's website there. It is Butch Witkowski's website is uforcop.com. That's uforcop.com. So make sure you check it on out if you have a sighting. We'll be back with the final half hour of Spaced Out Radio next. All right. There we go. Now I can get caught up here, guys. Give me a second. Howard explained Shadow Dog in the Hat. I'm a little confused there. Oh, that hat. No, I don't think there is any connection between the two. I hope she got it, by the way. Vinster, I did ask one of your questions. Please forgive me, guys. Okay, having to do this all of a sudden tonight, and with the way the chat room is moving, I couldn't normally keep updated. So when all of a sudden a question popped up, that's the one I grabbed. So it isn't personal or anything like that. I'm sorry if I missed your questions. I really am. I know there was a lot of questions, man. So I do apologize. It's a nice clown there, Marty. Nice clown. I like that one. I wonder if that is haunting my dogs and not me. That'd be interesting. Tomorrow night we have a journalist named Chrissy Elliott. She will be talking about Bigfoot, aliens, and sex cults. Wednesday night we have Linda Thompson. She used to work for, which government agency did she work for? Or a private company that has government contracts. I forget, but we're going to talk UFOs and kind of like private companies doing work for potential work on UFOs that have crash landed. She's got an amazing alien experience too. Thursday night we have Ryan Stacy from Tessa, and then Friday night we have the SOR Roundtable, which we're just putting together as well. Thank you, Clam, for posting that, by the way, on Twitter. Appreciate that. Vinster, thank you so much for that awesome super chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Really appreciate that. Thank you for your continued support, man. That'll be, that's really cool, man. Really cool. Sovereign, you asked something earlier that I meant to get to. I just cannot find it. I'm just scrolling way back here while we have some time here. Oh, yeah. No, we're not booking her for the show. We are not booking her for the show. Are there any men still out there? Look at you, Miss Pickles, searching the chat room for a date. All right, we have 25 seconds. Yeah, I haven't seen Lisa Rosenberg in a long time. Where is she hiding, Eugene? Where is she hiding? We rounded third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate you. each and every one of you tuning us in. Want to remind you that if you've missed most of this show or others, you can check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where we have a plethora of features for you, including rocking out to Bumblefoot and reading up on Captain Shirk's SOR Newswire. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show. Speaking of the news, let's do this thing, shall we? The news is always changing, which is why we bring you the SOR Newswire at the back end of every show, where we get to the weird, the strange, the wacky, and sometimes the underpants. Yes, apparently there are now brands of underpants with a penis pocket that could put an end to sweaty testes and even boost fertility. Now, a company called Just Wears offers a snug little spot for your member to sit away from your you-know-what, meaning no more hotboxing while you're in and about. Dubbed a palace for the phallus by its creators, the underpants are made from a ventilated fabric on the underside, which allows more air to circulate the wearer's undercarriage. According to this company, the material used to make them, sustainable Austrian beech trees, is 50% more absorbent and breathable than cotton, and combined to keep your jewels dry. Wow. Yeah, apparently they say we invented a unique ergonomic pouch to treat your crown jewels like royalty. The upper pouch function has quick draw access. Well, that's good because Lord knows we don't want any mistakes when we have to go to the bathroom. Yeah, the brand was the brainchild of Alex and Yang, who met in a youth hostel in Thailand. Apparently, they were tired of getting sweatiness in that area, decided to make some breathables. Took about 30 hours. They reached their target. They're now selling them and doing very well. They've already sold 65,000 pairs to 25,000 customers around the world. I'm telling you, I have a different pair. I'm wearing them right now. Not this kind, a different make, and they feel good. They feel really good. Hey, we're finally getting some improvement down there, boys. Finally getting some improvement. In honor of Robbie Burns Night, there's a packet of haggis that has been launched into the edge of space for the first time. Scottish butcher Simon Howie worked with space education and research firm Strattonauts to launch a 454-gram haggis into Perth and Kinroth this month. The haggis was attached to a weather balloon and soared for more than 20 miles or 107,298 feet above Earth, equivalent of nearly 4 times the height of Everest. After taking off from the Simon Howie headquarters in Dunning, it traveled over Stirling, Falkirk, Edinburgh, and Pentland Hills before landing safely in Lauder in the Borders. Mr. Howie said he wanted to start the year by lifting the spirits of the general public and was thrilled to work with Strattonauts to take Scotland's national dish to new heights. Burns Night is one of the most popular dates of the food calendar for us, and we wanted to mark the occasion by sending the UK's best-selling haggis into the edge of space, he said. Mr. Howie said that the company has worked hard to increase production in the run-up to Christmas and now Burns Night, which Scots celebrate on the 25th of January to mark the life and the works of poet Robbie Burns. Haggis. That stuff's gross, by the way. It really is. Okay. This report here is another reason why it is dumb to go in the ocean. If 2021 is going to be anything like 2012, let's face it, you're probably going to get killed by sharks. It's just the way it goes. In what's called an unusually deadly year, sharks killed 10 people around the world in unprovoked attacks in 2020, the highest number since 2013, according to a report released by the International Shark Attack File. 6 of the deaths were in Australia waters, and 3 were in the United States, 1 each in California, Hawaii, and Maine, which is a first for that state. The other death was in St. Martin's, a Caribbean island. 10 is a high number. 2 deaths were reported in 2019, 4 in 2018. The annual global average is 5 or 6. Though the deaths were up last year, the number of non-fatal attacks was low in 2020 at just 57. That's well below the average of 80. Still too many. Though the incidence of bites, both in the USA and globally, declined, 2020's number represent a more drastic drop than would be expected based on an analysis of long-term trends, the International Shark Attack File said in a statement. As we first reported in June, the observed drop in shark bite incidents may have been caused by widespread quarantines, closed beaches, and minimized vacation travel in response to COVID-19. Researchers at the file, based at the Florida Museum of Natural History, track attacks in the shark's natural habitat in which there was no human provocation. Consistent with long-term trends, the USA experienced the most unprovoked attacks in 2020 with 33 confirmed cases. So in other words, 33 times sharks tried to make humans food. Overall, the global battle between humans and sharks, it's hardly a fair fight. Humans kill about 100 million sharks and rays each year. That sucks. Most are killed by commercial fishermen for their fins and flesh. That's disgusting. Leave the sharks alone. They're doing a good job patrolling the ocean, and they do not want humans here. By the way, your chances of being killed by a shark are relatively low at 3,748,067 to 1. Still too low for me. If that was about 100 million to 1, I might consider dipping a pinky toe in the ocean. But until that odds change, there is no way. Leave the sharks alone. Don't kill them. They're beautiful animals. They deserve to swim in their natural habitat. We just don't need to be the food that they are feeding on. It's just that simple. Just that simple. A former Transportation Security Administration agent who was accused of tricking a traveler into showing her boobies as she went through the security at L.A. International Airport has pleaded no contest to false imprisonment, authorities said. Jonathan Loemi entered the plea Friday to a felony count and was sentenced to 60 days in county jail, 52 classes addressing sexual compulsion, and 2 years probation. Lomelli was also barred from working as a security guard. He was charged with using fraud or deceit to falsely imprison the woman in June of 2019. The woman told investigators that Lomelli told her that he had to look inside her bra to ensure she wasn't hiding anything, had her remove her pants away from her waist for a check, and then said he would take her to a private room for further security screening, prosecutor said. But when they were alone on an elevator, Lomelli told the woman he could perform the screening there and ordered her to lift her shirt and show her breasts, then look down her pants. What a pervert. Lomelli then told the woman she was free to go and added that she had nice breasts, authorities said. After Lomelli was arrested, California Attorney General Xavier Becerra said that that the former TSA's agent actions represented a mistreatment of women that should not be tolerated. Women deserve to be treated with dignity and respect everywhere, he said. There is no excuse for this kind of alleged behavior. It's not okay on the street. It's not okay in our schools, and it's certainly not welcome at the airport. Good for him for getting fired. Good for him. All right, moving on. Women look a little bit different than when the pandemic began. Loungewear for skirts, slippers for heels, bare faces for painted ones. Some of us are hairier too. Andrea DeWord of Brooklyn works in a book publishing company. She says, I'm never wearing makeup or blow-drying my hair for work again. Julia Liss, who's just 27, a technology sales executive in New York, vows she's done wearing heels. 41-year-old Marie Garman from Jacksonville said, I went from shaving my legs every few days to not shaving at all since April. So this report was done by the USA Today, by the way. They said they heard from dozens of women who share that despite the pandemic's lockdown, social restrictions, and mask mandates, they relaxed beauty standards that have accompanied their retreat from public life, and it's been liberating. If there's one thing good that's come from the COVID mess, it's that I was able to find myself, Garman said. To hell with it all. who are we really doing this all for? Not myself, because I hate that routine. If the pandemic had offered women any reprieve, it may have been from societal expectations around appearance. More are homebound, interacting less, zooming more, and beauty routines and fashion choices have adapted in kind. When the pandemic sharpened the divide between our public lives and our private selves, it gave women space to examine what they want to do to their bodies and why. The question is, will any of these relaxed beauty norms stick once the pandemic is over? Look, I think women look beautiful without makeup. Most of the time, like 90% of the time, I prefer it. Okay? I do. But shaving the legs and the armpits? I don't know. I guess I should shave my face, though. That would make it even, correct? Because Lord knows I haven't shaved much since the pandemic. Look at my beard. So I don't blame women for that, to be honest. SpaceX began preparations for a launch and closed roads leading to the pad in southern Texas. However, they ended up not evacuating local residents, indicating that there would be no launch attempt on January 25th. It is possible that winds at the high launch site were just too high, as gusts were said to be nearly 30 miles per hour at the surface. This means the company is likely to try again when the roads are scheduled to be closed and the winds are forecast to be a little bit more favorable. After a series of static fire tests on its latest Starship prototype, SpaceX appears set to launch the full-scale vehicle from its rocket facility. The nominal plan is for the prototype to ascend to an altitude as high as 12.5 kilometers, perform a belly flop maneuver to simulate bleeding off energy during a return to Earth's atmosphere, reorient itself, and then land near the launch pad. Only a little more than 6 weeks have passed since SpaceX conducted a similar test of its SN8 vehicle in South Texas. That one, ended up crashing on the landing. Just didn't have the landing. We had to take deductions away from that. Otherwise, it would have looked really good. Moving on, scientists have found a 34-year-old grizzly bear in southwest Wyoming, identifying him by a mark on his lip made by biologists in 1989. That's the oldest grizzly ever known in the Yellowstone region. That includes parts of Montana, Idaho, and Wyoming. They say, respect your bear elders. There's no telling if there are any older grizzlies currently roaming Yellowstone, since hundreds of the creatures are completely unmarked by scientists, but this one by far is the oldest one with whom there is scientific documentation. That's kind of cool. Sadly, though biologists had to put the bear down, he was captured last summer after he got caught preying on calves on a nearby ranch. After euthanizing the creature last July, biologists found an identifying tattoo on its lip that read 168, a mark given to the creature in 1989. The bear was a male, which is notable as female grizzlies generally live longer than males. Previously, the oldest known grizzly in Yellowstone was Bear 399, a female who died at age 27. When caught, 168 had just 3 teeth left, and they were ground down to the nubs, a sure sign of old age and an explanation for why the animal was going after easy prey like calves. He was also quite emaciated, weighing just 170 pounds, which is nothing for a grizzly. When he was captured in the Shoshana National Forest in August 1991, records show he weighed 450 pounds. Yellowstone biologists consider the grizzly's bodily health based on a 1 to 5 scale, with a 1 being the worst shape and a 5 being the worst. That doesn't make sense, with 1 being in the worst shape and 5 being the worst. When he was captured, 168 was ranked a 0. Because of his failing physical condition, Fish and Wildlife Service biologists made the call to euthanize the animal last July instead of relocating him to a more remote part of Yellowstone. It was sad that we had to put him down, but ethically there was nothing else that could be done, Dan Thompson, a biologist with Wyoming Game and Fish, had mentioned. Researchers know quite a bit about the bear from past records. Grizzly 168 was first captured when he was 3 years old. That's when scientists gave him his identifying tattoo, then recaptured in Fremont County, Wyoming in 1996. Over the next year, he lost his radio collar, so scientists aren't totally sure what he was up to, but DNA tests show that he likely fathered 3 kids in the mid-2000s and may have had some more kids in later years when he was 23 and again when he was 31. Speaking of bears, a man riding a chairlift at a Romanian ski resort caught a scary video of a tense moment when a fellow skier was being chased by a bear. David Creda posted the video on YouTube showing the bear chasing the skier on a slope at the Predil ski resort this past Saturday. Chairlift riders alerted the skier to the pursuit, and the skier threw his backpack on the ground, which succeeded in distracting the bear for long enough to allow the man to escape. Police spokesman Ian Zaharia said the skier did the right thing by distracting the bear. He said 3 emergency calls came in about the bear being spotted in various locations. Zaharia said the bear fled into the woods when police arrived in all-terrain vehicles, but authorities are considering having the bear relocated to avoid future confrontations on the slopes, as I hope they would. Finally tonight, the coronavirus pandemic has produced a ripe environment for text message phishing attacks. Such scams are socially engineered to exploit people's vulnerable impulses, experts say, and have sharply risen in 2020. Many Americans sign up for text message notifications and reminders, from healthcare providers to shipping services. But as SMS phishing becomes more widespread, consumers will have to exercise more vigilance with texts of unknown origins. Because you don't want to be ripped off, people. Let's just face it. If you get a text from a number you don't recognize, just throw it in the garbage. Unless it's mine confirming your Spaced Out Radio interview. Thought of the Day happens every night at this time, where we ask a question on our Facebook and Twitter pages, then read your responses on the air, because we love the audience participation around here. Today's Thought of the Day is as follows. Where to go here? Ah, there it is. What would you do if you found a set of fresh cryptid footprints? Nick, take many pictures, especially of where the prints came from to where they go. Hopefully don't get eaten by Dogman. Kira, I have and I've photographed it, but it would be great to cast it. I now plan to take on every hike a casting kit. Alex, environmental DNA is the only thing we should be thinking about. We've taken pics and casts for years. We don't need any more. eDNA is the next step. Lori, right now with snow, take a few pictures of them, follow them, keeping ears and eyes on a swivel, and then be happy. All I've heard over the years, one brief glimpse of Bigfoot. To me, it's proof enough that I'm not crazy. Also, hope the footprints I found are not of Dogman. Still taking pictures to get out of Dodge safely as possible. Corrance. Well, different Corey. This one likes Hallmark movies. Take pictures and video and emphasize and show in the video where the footprints were in reference to the remoteness of where they were at. Joe, I would grab my phased plasma rifle in the 40-watt range and let loose the hounds. David, follow them, but backwards. Jinn have their feet on backwards, and Himalayan Sherpas believe that Yetis do too. This needs investigating. Gary, take pics, take a sample to see if there's any DNA, then cast it. D.A. Roberts, photos, videos, and casting. Chris, I would take my dogs out and try to follow them, then take plaster molds and photos, and then call you, Dave. Well, send me a cast, because I would love a Sasquatch footprint cast for the studio here. Dolly, take heaps of pictures, mark the area, and see if there's any DNA or hairs left behind. I'd love to go back later with something and try and make a plaster cast if I can manage to get back in the area. Alex, we should always collect dirt and debris on the print itself, because once you mess with the track, touch it, or cast it, you contaminate it and can't get DNA out of the print. Cable Guy Matt says, I'm going to follow the tracks. Well, of course you are, Cable Guy Matt, because I'm going to be right beside you. Goddess Michelle, I would take pictures, then cast the prints. I would also start looking for hair or scat in the area. Then I would go find the cryptid. I would then lure him home with Humpty Dumpty cheese sticks. When I got him home, I would just say, hey, he was another cat. Marty, one of our favorite veterans, great clown tonight, Marty, says after taking the cast and pictures, I would take my findings to a reputable shoe shop and then make them line in a nice pair of Bigfoot sneakers to sell on the internet and make a ton of money. That would be awesome. Anthony, Immediately pull my camera from my bag and start shooting photos. Mickle. I'd say thank you and ask him not to hurt me, and to wish them well and to not be afraid of me. Then I'd take a picture and plaster it on social media for everyone to see. Another Alex. Keep in mind, collecting DNA is the only thing we should be doing. Pics and casts are in the past. We don't need any more of the past. We need some DNA future. Keep in mind that if you don't collect dirt, debris, or on a print or track, you are contaminating the site and cannot get accurate DNA out of it. John, after I wake up from passing out from overexcitement and hyperventilating with tears of joy, I think I'd call you, Dave. I'm there. I am so there. Joseph, try to eliminate what it could not be before jumping to the conclusion that it is a cryptid, and then try to guess what kind of cryptic it could be, then take some photos and try and tell others about it. Shanna, well, she sends me a gift of a giant goat with a monkey riding on its back. Marty, document with photos and with casts if feasible. Peter, turn around and go home like it was none of my business. Play some vinyl and pour myself a drink. 13 Ballads gets the last word for the night. Technically, otherkin, elfkin, dragonkin have non-human souls, hence cryptids walking about in Nike running shoes, etc. Thank you to everybody participating in the Thought of the Day, as we will do it all again tomorrow on Facebook and Twitter. Thank you, Captain Shirk, for the SOR Newswire, and to Butch Witkowski and all of your audience participation tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone tuning in our chat rooms tonight on YouTube, LGAB, Revolution Radio. We have the Space Travelers Club, Facebook, and all the snarkers and snarkettes tweeting away at hashtag Space.
The thing about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive is that by now you've heard a lot of ads about the Home and Auto Bundle from Progressive. We don't even need the words "the Home and Auto Bundle" anymore to tell you that you could save big with the ring-tailed lemur from Progressive, or that every hot peach cobbler comes with round-the-clock service and protection. And that's the thing about the goat with magic powers. You've heard a lot of ads about the sushi in Vancouver. See how much you could save with the Home and Auto with the Shaman in the Jungle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Introducing Peacock, the new free streaming service from NBC Universal. It's hit movies, current shows, live sports, trending bits, and timeless hits. And that's why you can't not watch. Peacock. Watch for free. Upgrade for more. Stream now at peacocktv.com. Law & Order SVU streaming now.